This conference will now be recorded.
So in today's session, we are going to discuss about asynchronous programming. So we will see what exactly the asynchronous operations, what is the use, and how it is different from synchronous operations. Okay, synchronous operations. We have to understand what exactly synchronous, what exactly asynchronous operations, and how to perform the asynchronous operations inside your Salesforce instance. We'll see practically what are the various features has been given by Salesforce in order to perform the asynchronous operations. Now, so first of all, we have to understand synchronous operations. Synchronous operations, and then we have to understand asynchronous operations. What is synchronous? What is asynchronous? Let me explain first. Synchronous means what? Synchronous in the sense sequential. Sequential. That means one by one. Synchronous means sequential or one by one. That means we need to perform the operations one by one, one by one, one by one. Now, let's see practically what exactly the synchronous. What are the drawbacks are available in these synchronous operations? We'll see how those drawbacks will overcome with the help of asynchronous. How the process will happening in asynchronous. Now, let me explain. For example, assume that I have two systems. Okay, as part of synchronous, I'm having two systems. For example, first of all, let me go with that synchronous operations. Now, for example, I have two systems are available. There is a server system, there is a client system. Two systems are available. I have a client, I have a server. Two systems are available with me. Okay, there is a client and there is a server. Now, so this is the client system. Client system. And this is the server system. I'm having that client system, I'm having the server system. Client means what? It's a consumer. Okay, it's a consumer which will be receiving the data from the server. Server is nothing but a provider. Okay, server is nothing but a provider which will be having the whole information, which is having the whole data, records, business logic, functionalities, and everything, which will be providing these features to the clients. So server is having the whole information, whatever the records are required, whatever the data, whatever the functionalities, whatever the business logic is required, everything is available inside that server side. So the clients will be utilizing, the clients are consuming those features and then they can able to utilize inside their application. Now, so in this case, as part of synchronous, how can we perform this operation? So what will happen? Now let me explain. For example, today the client is initiating a request. Okay, the client is initiating a request because client is required some data. Okay, client requires some data. So the client is initiating a request to the server. It has initiated a small request to get some data. So this is a request to one. Request to one. This is the request one which has been initiated by the client. So the clients are going to be initiating the request to the server. Server will process that request. It will send the response back. Now, as soon as whenever the client is initiating the request, server has collected that request. Once the request has been getting collected, it is started processing that request. Immediately, the request has been processed. It has sent the response back. The server has sent the response back. So this is the response. This is the response. So in order to execute this particular request, okay, it has taken some 1 minute. 1 minute. So server has taken 1 minute time in order to process this request. Once the request has been processed, then it has sent the response back to that client. Now, so now once this client has received this response, then it is initiating one more request. It is initiating another request. There is a second request which has been initiated by the client. So this is the request 2. Request 2. So in this request 2, it is having 1 lakh records processing. Okay, in this request 2, okay, he is performing some operations on 1 lakh records. So to process this 1 lakh records, it will take some time, right? Yes. So the server is taking some 5 minutes time. Server is taking some 5 minutes time. Then in this 5 minutes time, it has processed that whole 1 lakh records operation. Then it is sending the response back. Then it is sending the response back. It has sent the response. So this is the response to. Response to. For this one, it has taken 5 minutes time. It has taken 5 minutes time. Next. Then a client is initiating one more request right now. It has initiated one more request. In this request, lakhs of records processing has been involved. This is the request 3. This is the request 3. In this request 3, it involves some lakhs of records processing, some millions of records processing is involved. So in order to complete this request, okay, server will take 2 hours of time. Okay, server will take 2 hours of time. It requires 2 hours of time. 2 hours. Now tell me what this client has to do for the next 2 hours. Client can initiate some more requests? No, it won't allow. Once the previous request has been completed, then only we can initiate the next request. So as part of this synchronous operation, synchronous means what? Sequential, one by one, one by one, one by one. Like for example, let me explain a general scenario. Assume that, for example, this weekend there is a marriage occasion in my home. Okay, there is a marriage occasion in my home. This Sunday there is a marriage occasion in my home. So for this marriage occasion, I would like to invite, okay, my friends or my colleagues also. So for example, I'm having some 10 friends out there to whom I would like to invite. I would like to invite my friends. I'm having 10 friends out there who are very close to me. So I would like to invite all the certain people to for my on this one. So how can we make a call to these people? Because these people are staying in different locations. So I need to invite these people over the phone. So can I make a call to all the 10 people in one shot? No. We have to make the call one by one, one by one, one by one, one by one. So initially I have made a call to the person one, and then I had invited him, and then I have disconnected the call. Next, I made a call to the person two. I have given the invitation. I have disconnected the call. I made a call to that person three. I invited that person and then disconnected the call. And then I made a call to the fourth person, and then that person I have invited him, okay, for my marriage, and then so I have disconnected the call. I made a call to the fifth person. Okay, I made a call to the fifth person. So I had the conversation with this person for 2 hours. Okay. So now whatever the remaining five people, after completion of this call only, we can go to the remaining people to make a call so that we can invite those people also. That means what? Whenever we are making a call to the people by using our mobile, we can make the call to the people one by one, one by one. One by one. First of all, make a call to the person, have the conversation, then disconnect. After disconnecting that only, we can make a call to the another person. After that one, we can make a call to the third person. We can have the conversation like that. One by one, one by one, one by one, we can able to perform these operations. The same process is happening as part of synchronous operation. Okay, the same process is happening as part of this. Okay, synchronous operations. Now, so when coming to the synchronous operations, we are going to performing the operations one by one, one by one, one by one sequentially. Okay? One by one, one by one, one by one. Sequentially, we can able to make the call to the people. So now here in this case, what happened? Whenever we are going to be making the call to the people one by one, one by one, one by one. In this case, will it take more time, right? Yes, it will be taking more time. It will be taking more time. This is the first problem. It will be killing your time. Okay? It will be killing your time. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of resources also. This is the problem as part of the synchronous operations. Because here you have raised that request three. The client has raised the request three. Then to process this request three, server requires some 2 hours of time. So till this 2 hours of time, we can't go ahead. We can't perform any other operations. We can't initiate any more requests here. So let the previous request complete first. Then only we can invest. We can able to involve that next request over here. This is the process happening when coming to the synchronous operations. Okay, as part of synchronous operations, we have to perform the operations one by one, one by one, one by one, sequentially. So we can't perform the operation. Okay, we can't perform the operation parallelly over here. That is a problem. Okay, that is a problem as part of this synchronous operations. So in this synchronous operation, the first problem is whenever once you are, if you want to invite. First of all, if you are invoking a request, then we have to wait till the completion of that request. Once the request has been getting processed successfully, once you got the response, then only we can invoke that second request. Once the second request has been completed successfully, once you got the response, then only we can invoke the third request. So that means what? In order to invoke the request, first of all, we have to wait to complete the previous request. Let me complete the previous request, then only we can able to initiate that next request. This is the problem when coming to that synchronous operations, where we are performing the operations sequentially one by one, one by one, one by one. This is the problem. Okay, this is the problem. Like for example, where we are using synchronous operations. Now let me explain. For example, I'm logging into my Salesforce instance. Now, so now tell me how many records I can create at a time by using this user interface. Only one. So click on new button and then enter the data inside these fields. After entering the data, click on save button to save the record. Once the record has been created successfully, then click on new button again and then enter the second for the record details, click on save. And then click on new button again, enter the third record details, save it. Like that, one by one, we can able to perform. So in this case, if you are processing the request one by one, then it is called as a synchronous process. Which will be allows us to perform the operation sequentially one by one. Now, for example, now tell me, presume that here I'm creating a record today, one account record. So I have entered some data inside this fields. I've entered the data in all the fields. When I click on this save button to save this record, okay, when I click on the save button to save this record, it is taking 10 minutes of time. Okay, 10 minutes of time. Because Salesforce server may be busy, I don't know. Or behind this save button control, I have written my own business logic also, which is a complex operation. Complex business logic is there. So it will take some 10 minutes time. Now tell me, once you click on this save button, then while it is saving this record, okay, okay, while it is saving this record, can you do any other operations over here? No. No. So now here in this case, what will happen? So now, as soon as once you click on that save button, behind this save button, I have written so much business logic over here. So now in this case, it will take some 10 minutes of time. Okay, it will take some 10 minutes of time. So in this 10 minutes, what we can do? We need to sit idle. Okay, we need to sit idle. Okay, we need to sit idle. Now, so in this case, we can't perform any other operation. Once you click on save button, this entire user interface will go into the read-only state. We can't perform any other operations over here. Okay, we can't perform any other operations. So that here, till the completion of this save processing, then only we can able to initiate the next request. After completion of the first one and the next one, and then next one, and then next one, like that, we can perform the operation sequentially one by one. In this case, suppose upon click on the save button, if it is taking some 10 minutes of time to save my record, okay, so that we need to wait till 10 minutes. We don't have any other alternative choice. Because this user interface will go into the read-only state. You can't go to any other object, you can't perform any other operations. Simply you have to wait. You have to sit idle only. Suppose if it is taking half an hour time to save the record, we have to wait for half an hour only. There is no other alternative way. No other choice. You can't perform any other operation. This is a major problem when coming to that synchronous operation. So for that reason here, to avoid these kind of problems, when coming to the Salesforce, they have introduced a feature called as asynchronous operations. Okay, asynchronous operations. That means parallel processing also we can do. Okay, so that we are going to be using asynchronous operations. Then how can we perform the asynchronous operations? Now let me explain practically to you. Like for example, assume that I'm having asynchronous operations. Asynchronous operations. Now, for example, let me take the two systems like the similar manner. I'm having a client system. Okay, I'm having a client system, and then I'm having a server system also. I'm having a server system. Two systems I'm having. I have the client system. This is my client. I'm having the server. I'm having the server. Now, in this case, let's see what will happen in this case here. Now, let me explain this scenario as part of a scenario. case. Asynchronous means what? Parallel. We no need to wait till the completion of the previous operations. Okay, we no need to wait till the completion of the previous operations. We can go with parallel processing also over here. Now, in this case, for example, assume that here. Okay, assume that. So initially here, for example, the client has initiated a request. Client has initiated a request. This is the request one. Client has initiated a request. So this is the request one. Request. So now the server is taking some time to process my request. Like server is taking some 1 minute time to process my request. After 1 minute, it has sent the response back. After 1 minute, it has sent the response back. I got that response. Okay, I got that response. So this is the response one. Okay, I got the response. And then I have initiated one more request. Then I have initiated one more request. This is the request 2. So this is the request 2. I have initiated that second request, that is the request 2. So this is the request 2. This is the request 2. So now the server will take this request 2 and it is processing this request. Okay, it is processing the request. So to process this request, it will take some half an hour time. To process this request, it will take some half an hour time. In this meantime, what this client can do? The client needs to sit idle here? No, because server is processing the request to 2. Because it is involving some 1 lakh record processing, so it is taking some half an hour time here. So in this meantime, what the client can do? The client needs to sit idle? No. In this case, client can initiate the third request also. The client can initiate the third request also. The client is initiating one more request. After a few minutes, the client has initiated the third request, request 3. But still server is processing the request to 2 only here. And then in this meantime, okay, client has initiated the request 3. Request 3. Then where this request 3 will go in this case? Request 3 will be collecting by server, or it will be simply ignoring that request 3. No, in this case, what Salesforce server will do is, in this case, server is going to be maintaining a queue. Okay, it is maintaining a queue. Internally, it will maintain a queue. Internally, it will maintain a queue. Internally, it maintains a queue. This queue is called as Apex queue. This queue is called as Apex queue. In this Apex queue, the request will be getting placed. Server is keep on in touch with this particular Apex queue. Okay, server will be keep on in touch with this particular Apex queue. So keep on, it is going to be looking into this particular Apex queue only to check do we have any items are waiting inside this particular queue. It will be keep on waiting. It is keep on verifying inside this queue. So now the client has initiated the request 3. As soon as the request 3 has been getting initiated, the request will go to the server. What the server will do is, whatever the request 3 has been initiated by this particular server, now, so the client, this request 3 will be placing inside this queue. To place that request 3 inside the queue. So now the request 3 inside this queue. This is the request 3. Request 3 is waiting inside this queue. But still server is processing the request 2 only. Still server is busy with this request 2 processing only. Now, In this meantime, okay, in this meantime, so the client has initiated one more request also, request 4. Okay, request 4. So this is the fourth request here. Request 4. So now, as soon as whenever the client is initiating the request 4, by that time server is busy with request 2 processing. Still it is processing the request 2. In this case, this request 4 also will go into the queue. Request 4 also go into the queue. It will place this request 4 inside the queue because Salesforce server is busy right now by processing with that another request here. So please wait for some time inside the queue. And then in this meantime, server client is initiating one more request over here. That is request 5. Client has initiated one more request, that is request 5. So this is the request 5. Request 5. What this request 5 will do, this request 5 also will be going into the queue. Because still server is processing the second request one. Still the server is processing the second request only. So this request 5 also will go into the request 5 also will go into the queue. Now, so now here in this case, what happened? Salesforce is maintaining a queue that is called as Apex queue. So in this case, now whenever the server is busy with processing a request, in this meantime, if the client is initiating some more requests, then these requests are not discarding simply. These requests are going to placing inside that Salesforce queue that is called as Apex queue maintaining by Salesforce. So now, okay, after raising this request 5, then server has sent that response back. Okay, server has sent the response back of that request to here. We got that response too. Now we got this response too. This is the response too. Response too. Then what Salesforce server will do? Now here in this case, server is process that request to successfully. It has sent the response back also. Now what it will do? Immediately it will go to that queue. It will verify whether do we have any requests are waiting inside the queue or not. Yes, there are some requests are waiting inside this queue. That is request 3, request 4, request 5. Based on that first come first serve basis, whatever the first request is available inside the queue, it will collect that first request over here. Whatever the first request is available inside the queue, Salesforce is collecting that first request over here. In this case, now we got the response too. So in this meantime, whatever the request has been raised by the client, these requests are waiting inside the Apex queue. So immediately server will go to the Apex queue. It will verify, do we have any requests are waiting inside this queue or not? If the requests are waiting inside the queue, then it will be collecting the first request. That means based on that first come first serve basis. Okay, based on first come first serve basis, it will collect the first request. What is that first request? Request 3. It will collect that request 3. It will start processing the request 3. Salesforce will collect the request 3. It will be start processing this request 3 over here. It will start processing the request 3. So now here in this meantime, the client has initiated one more request over here. Okay, in this meantime, client has initiated one more request. That is request 6. In this meantime, Client has initiated one more request, that is request 6. Request 6. So where this request 6 will go, this request 6 is also placing inside that Apex queue. It will place this request 6 inside this Apex queue. Now, so now here the client server is processing that request 3. Now here, once the request 3 processing has been done, it will send the response back. It is sending the response back to that client. Now, the client is sending the server is sending the response back to that client. Now, this is the response 3. Response 3. That means request 3 processing has been done. So once the request 3 processing has been done, then automatically it will be removing this entry from the queue. It will remove this entry from the queue, and whatever the remaining requests are waiting inside this queue, these will be coming ahead over. These will be coming ahead automatically. These will coming ahead automatically waiting for it. Now it will take that request 4 because the first request in this queue is now request 4. So it will collect this request 4. It will start processing this request 4. So it will collect that request 4, and then it will be sending the response back. It will send the response back. So once the request 4 has been processed successfully, then this request 4 also will be getting removing from the queue automatically. Request 4 also will be getting removed automatically from the queue. Then remaining requests are going to be coming ahead automatically. These will be coming ahead automatically. Now it will take the first request in this one, that is request 5. It will start processing that, and then it will start processing the request 6. Like that here, one by one, it is going to be processing those requests which are waiting inside this particular. This is how we are going to be using asynchronous operation. That means what? In asynchronous operation, what will happen? Simply, whenever we are going to be initiating the request, then to initiate that next request, we no need to wait till the completion of the previous operations. Okay, we no need to wait till the completion of the previous operation. So we can initiate the request over there, and the server will be processing that. In this meantime, we can able to initiate some more requests also according to our business processes. So we can save the time, we can save the resources. We can utilize the resources very, very efficiently also as part of these asynchronous operations. That's what here, whenever if you want to implement this kind of asynchronous operations, we are going to be using the help of Apex queue also. Okay, Apex queue also. Now, let me explain one simple concept here. General example. For example, today is a new year, for example, January 1st. On the occasion of this January 1st, I want to send some wishes to my friends. I have some 50 people are there, okay, who are my friends, who are very close to me. Okay, those people are my colleagues, my friends also. So 50 members are there to whom I want to send some wishes. So making the call to each and every person one by one will take more time. So then what I want to do is simply I will prepare one SMS. Okay, I will prepare one SMS. I send the SMS to that first person. In that SMS, I have typed the whole information. Whatever the wishes information I would like to deliver to the people, whatever the new year wishes I want to convey to the people, I have typed that information, and then I'm sending this first SMS to that first person. Now immediately I got that acknowledgement. So now message delivery successful. So my message has been delivered to my friend 1. Next, I have sent that SMS notification to the person 2, second friend. So immediately I got that message notification acknowledgement that message delivery successful. Next, I sent SMS to the third person. But still I did not get the SMS. That means I did not get that acknowledgement. Now what we can do? Do I need to wait till I'm getting the acknowledgement? No. because that person's mobile number may be switch off mode. His battery may be dead. He may be out of station where there is no proper network. Might be he's not using that mobile number also because he may be change his mobile numbers also. I don't know. In this case, what will happen? I won't get any acknowledgement notification. Then what's the mobile network will do? Whenever I'm sending one SMS notification to a particular mobile number, immediately it will go to the nearest tower. It will go to the nearest tower. In that tower, there will be maintaining the mobile network people are maintaining a queue. Okay, mobile networks people are maintaining a queue. So my SMS will be placing inside the queue, and then will try to check that mobile number. Whatever the mobile number to whom I want to send the SMS, it will verify whether that mobile number is correct or not. If it is correct, it will try to connect to that mobile number. If the mobile number is connected, it will be sending the SMS. Suppose if that mobile number is unable to connect, then my SMS is waiting inside the queue. It will be waiting inside the queue. Then after 10 minutes, it will try again to connect to the mobile number. Suppose second time also it has been failed. Then after 20 minutes, it will try to connect to that mobile number again. Again, it has been failed. After 40 minutes, it will try again. Like that, it will try to keep on continuing till the next 12 hours. It will keep on trying to connect to that mobile number till next 12 hours. Within that 12 hours, if that mobile number is reachable, SMS will be getting delivered, you will be getting the acknowledgement. Or else, if that mobile number is not reachable within the next 12 hours, then it will be sending that SMS notification to you, message delivery has been failed. We are unable to connect to that mobile number. Maybe he's not using that mobile number. Maybe that mobile number is not in use. Maybe that mobile number has been switch off mode. We don't know. So that keep on it has tried to connect to that mobile number for the next 12 hours. Okay, within the 12 hours, if it is unable to deliver that SMS, it will be sending that acknowledgement back to you. Your message delivery has been failed. This is the problem. So in this case, what happened? Do I need to wait to send the SMS to the fourth person till I'm getting the previous SMS response? Till I'm getting the previous SMS notification acknowledgement? No. Continuously, we can send that SMS notification one by one, one by one, one by one. Once the SMS has been delivered, then I will get the acknowledgement notification later also, no problem. This is the process we are using as part of asynchronous. Whatever the mobile calls we are using in our mobiles, whenever you are making those calls, there that is purely synchronous operation. One by one, one by one, one by one, one by one, we can make the calls. But upon sending that SMS, we are using the feature called as asynchronous. We are using the feature called as asynchronous operations. As part of this asynchronous operations, we can able to send the multiple requests also to that server, so that whenever the server is available, that will take up that request from the queue, it will be start processing that. That facility is available as part of asynchronous operations. Then how can we implement this kind of asynchronous operations? So in this case here, when you observe the difference, here we are having that only one request at a time, but here multiple requests also we can initiate in one shot also. Then whenever the server is processing that one request, remaining requests will be getting placing inside that Apex queue. Okay, here it is maintaining the queue concept over here inside this asynchronous operations. These are executing in the background. Okay, these are executing in the background, so there is no impacting on the client system. I can continue with my work as it is. In the background, it is working as it is. Now, in this case, how can we implement this kind of asynchronous operations? In order to implement this kind of asynchronous operations, okay, we are going to be using the various features. Now, Salesforce provides the below 5 features to implement the asynchronous operations. In order to implement the asynchronous operations, we have 5 features which has been given by Salesforce. The first one is batch programming. This is also called as batch Apex. Second one, schedule programming. This is also called as schedule Apex. Third one, flex queues. Flex queues. Fourth one, future methods. Future methods. Fifth one, queuable effects. These are also called as queuable interface. Queuable interface. These are the 5 features has been given by Salesforce whenever if you want to perform the asynchronous operations. In order to implement or in order to achieve these asynchronous operations, we are using the help of batch programming, that is also called as batch effects. Second one, schedule programming, that is also called as schedule effects. Third one, flex queues. Fourth one, future methods. Fifth one, queuable effects. This is also called as queuable interface. These are the 5 features are available as part of this asynchronous operations or asynchronous program. Now, so these are the 5 most important features as part of real-time implementations. Like whenever we are implementing the functionalities as part of real-time implementations, these are the 5 most important features. In the interview point of view also, these are some common questions. These are some common questions like they will ask you to write the syntax of batch class. What exactly batch programming? What exactly the schedule programming? How can we schedule the jobs to be get run on based on the periodical intervals? And then flex queues, very rare people, the people will ask, okay, we'll see that concept also, we'll see in detail concept. And then there will be a common question, difference between future method and the queuable interface. Okay? So these two are similar. Like when you go to your implementations, you know the concept of workflow, you know the concept of process builder. So now for workflow rules, we have an advanced feature that is process builder. Because in workflow, we are having only 4 actions. In process builder, you are having more actions are available than workflow. So process builder is an advanced than workflow. It is a enhancement for workflow. Like the similar way, whenever I'm using this future methods, it is having some drawbacks. To overcome those drawbacks, we are using queuable interface. So queuable interface is an advanced than future method. It's an extension for future methods. Okay, queuable interface is an extension for future methods. What are the drawbacks are there in the future methods? We can overcome all those drawbacks with the help of queuable interface. Then how can we implement each and every functionality? We'll see practically from tomorrow onwards. From tomorrow onwards, we'll start each and every functionality one by one. We'll see batch programming first. In that batch programming, we'll see what exactly the batch affects, how to implement the batch programming, how to define a batch class, how to process the records by dividing them to the various small pieces called as batches. We'll see practically one by one. And aligned with that, we'll see how can we maintain the state, that is called as state management in batch programming. Generally, nobody will discuss this concept, but this is most important as part of real-time implementation. We'll see how to maintain the state management between the various batches by using an interface called as database.stateful interface. Okay, database.stateful interface. It's a common question in every interview. We'll see practically here how can we use that. And then how can we implement the chaining process between the batches? That means whenever I'm invoking one batch, how it will be invoking the another one. That should invoke another one. That should invoke another one. How can we implement the chaining process as part of batch programming? We'll see practically. And then we'll see the concept of schedule programming. Then how can we schedule the Apex classes to be run on based on the time period, based on the periodical intervals? How can we execute your Apex class by using schedule programming? And then as part of batch programming, we are having some drawbacks. So we'll see what are the drawbacks are there. How can we overcome with the help of flex queues concept? And then we'll see the future methods, which is most important one also. We are using these future methods in integrations also, that is called as future callouts. And then we are having the feature called as queuable interface, which is extension for feature methods. Each and every functionality we'll see in detail one by one. And then once we're done with these 5 features, then we'll move forward to that concept called as triggers, and then we'll move forward to that Visual Force program, so that we can complete all the features by end of this month. By end of this month, we'll be completing all these features one by one. Okay. So from
Excuse me,
tomorrow
sir.
onwards, we are starting the batch programming. Don't miss these sessions, because if you know the syntax of the batch programming, then only you can able to write that code. It will be very easy to understand the functionality. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Tell me.
Sir, the test classes, will it be after Visual Force or before Visual
After
Force?
Visual Force. After Visual Force. After Visual Force, we'll see how to write the test classes for your batch class, for your schedule class, for your trigger, for your controller class of Visual Force, and then we'll see the deployments concept. Okay. After the testing
Okay,
classes, we are having deployments concept. How to create the sandboxes, okay? How to map the connection between the sandboxes, how to deploy the code from one sandbox to another sandbox. Everything we'll see practically as part of this course. Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks for your time. Let's meet on tomorrow at same time.
Thank you, sir.